Welcome to Threading the Pearls of the Book of Revelation, Session 26, The Beast, Part 1, From the Sea. In this session we'll be looking at Chapter 13, verses 1 through 9, in which the beast rises up from the sea, and the dragon, of which we learned last session, gives authority to the beast. And the beast's authority continues 42 months, and his authority allows him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. This authority was given to him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. Taking a look at where we are in our timeline, we first saw the vision of Christ in his glorified body, who gave us the 7 letters to the 7 churches. We were told of the redemption which took place at the throne of God in heaven, as the 7-sealed scroll was given to the Lamb, who looked as though he had been slain. And opening those seals, issued in the 4 horsemen, and also assured the protection of the 144,000 sealed. And when the 7th seal was opened, it issued in the trumpet judgments, in which we saw the locust come out of the pit, and 4 angels released on the Euphrates River. Between the 6th and the 7th trumpet, there was a little scroll given to John to eat, that he must prophesy again. And the 2 witnesses were given their ministry for 3.5 years, or 42 months. And as the 7th trumpet was blown, the temple of God was opened in heaven, and the ark of his covenant was seen in his temple. And we were given in chapter 12 an overview from Genesis to Revelation of God's people, of God's plan. And now we continue that plan with the beast coming out of the sea. In chapter 13, verse 1. And I saw a beast. In Daniel chapter 7, he also describes beasts. There are several similarities in their description with that of John's account. There are also some differences where the 2 accounts make note of something that the other does not. So we will be reading a lot from Daniel during this session, and will gain insight from his revelation on the topic of the beast. Or should I say beasts, plural, because there are more than one. From Daniel 7, he writes, Those great beasts, which are 4 kings, which arise out of the earth. Then Daniel wished to know the truth about the 4th beast, which was different from all of the others, exceedingly dreadful, as it was coming out of the sea. Continuing from Daniel 7, Daniel speaks, saying, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, each different from the other. Now if we have read ahead in this chapter, it helps this passage from Psalms sound strangely familiar. Psalm 68, God will wound the head of his enemies, the hairy scalp of the one who still goes on in his trespasses. The Lord said, I will bring them back from the depths of the sea, that your foot may crush them in blood. Which is also a subtle reminder of Genesis 3:15, in which God told Satan, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed, he shall bruise your head, which has 10 horns. Returning to Daniel 7, Daniel wished to know the truth about the 4th beast, which was different from all of the others. For the 10 horns were on its head, and it has 7 heads. Now we'll come back to this in a moment, but for now we'll look at the 10 crowns, staying in Daniel 7, who writes, The 10 horns are 10 kings. The 10 kings shall arise from this kingdom, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be different from the first ones, and shall subdue 3 kings. And the crowns are on his horns. From Revelation 17, the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, who have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. And these are all of one mind, that they give their power and authority to the beast. And the horns are on each head. Back to the topic of the 7 heads. This beast is described again by John in Revelation 17, as he writes, I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Thankfully, here he also explains, from Revelation 17, verse 9, Here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sits. So if we take a step back, we see 10 kings ruling on 7 mountains. Returning to this image of the beast, he has a blasphemous name. As we look at 2 Peter chapter 2, who writes, "There were also false prophets among the people, even as there will be false teachers among you, those who secretly bring in destructive heresies, even denying the Lord who bought them. And many will follow in their destructive ways, because of whom the way of truth will be blasphemed." Verse 2. "And the beast I saw resembled a leopard." When describing the beast, Daniel uses similar descriptors as John. Again, notice the use of the terms like and as, or resembled a leopard. From Daniel 7, "I looked, and there was another, like a leopard, which had on its back 4 wings of a bird. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. It also had feet like a bear." Speaking of bears, Amos chapter 5 says, "Woe to you who desire the day of the Lord! For what good is the day of the Lord to you? It will be darkness and not light. It will be as though a man fled from a lion, and a bear met him. For the beast has a mouth like a lion." Here in Jeremiah, it seems to be describing 2 characters. For the lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of nations is on his way. For the dragon gave the beast his power. And what power does the dragon have? We learn from Hebrews 2, that through death he might destroy him who had the power of death, that is, the devil. And the dragon, or the devil, gave the beast great authority. But ultimately, where does this authority come from that the dragon has? We learn from Romans 13, there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. So can this beast coming from the sea be part of God's plan? Verse 3. "And I saw one of the heads of the beast," and this is interesting from Daniel 8, "in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have reached their fullness." Note the timestamp here. "A king shall arise, having fierce features, who understands sinister schemes." He seemed to have a fatal wound. "Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake as in the ancient days, in the generations of old. Are you not the arm that cut Rahab apart, and wounded the serpent?" A wound which had been healed. It's hard to realize sometimes that even this, the beast being unleashed upon the world, is under God's ultimate control. As we see here in Deuteronomy 32, "Now see that I, even I, am he, and there is no God besides me. I kill and I make alive, I wound and I heal, nor is there any one who can deliver from my hand." And the whole world was astonished. For Ezekiel tells us, "All who knew you among the peoples are astonished at you. You have become a horror, and shall be no more forever." But the whole world followed the beast. As Jeremiah writes, "They have gone after other gods to serve them. Therefore, thus says the Lord, Behold, I will surely bring calamity on them, which they will not be able to escape. And though they cry out to me, I will not listen to them. The gods to whom they offer incense will not save them at all in the time of their trouble." Verse 4. "And men worshipped the dragon. Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, became king over Israel. He did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father Ahab, and in the way of his mother Jezebel. For he served Baal and worshipped him, and provoked the Lord God of Israel to anger, according to all that his father had done. And the dragon had given authority to the beast." Again we ask, what authority does the devil have? Well, the devil said to Jesus in Luke chapter 4, "All this authority I will give you, and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I give it to whomever I wish. Therefore, if you will worship before me, all this will be yours." Did the devil have this authority? If he did not, would Jesus have been tempted? We might ask, is it because of this authority that men worshipped the beast also? Described by Paul in 2 Thessalonians, "The day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition. He opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And the people asked, Who is like the beast? Who can stand before the descendants of Anak? Therefore understand today that the Lord your God is he who goes over before you as a consuming fire, and he will destroy them and bring them down before you. But who can make war against the beast? And the people seem to be asking, Is God in control of this situation? Well, consider the work of God, for who can make straight what he has made crooked? In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. Surely God has appointed the one as well as the other. Verse 5. There was given to the beast a mouth. We have seen in previous sessions how the king of Assyria, or the Assyrian, can be used idiomatically to represent the coming world leader. From 2 Kings, Rabshakeh stood and called out with a loud voice in Hebrew, and spoke, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria, who utters proud words. Something very familiar is found again in Daniel 7. There, in this horn, were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking pompous words, blasphemies. God speaks to the king of Assyria in Isaiah chapter 37. I know your dwelling place, your going out and your coming in, and your rage against me, because your rage is against me, and your tumult have come up to my ears. Therefore I will put my hook in your nose, and my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back by the way which you came. For the beast exercises his authority, as the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and those who exercise authority over them are called benefactors. For 42 months. We might also note that 42 months is exactly 3.5 years. As we find in Daniel chapter 9, he shall confirm the covenant with many for a Shabuah, a period of 7 years, often translated 1 week, for it is a week of years. And in the midst of the week of years, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and the saints shall be given into his hand for a time and times and half a time. Again, we could read this, a year and 2 years and half a year, which add up to 3.5 years, or 42 months. Verse 6. And the beast opened his mouth, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet were swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. To blaspheme God. Returning to Daniel 7. He shall speak pompous words against the Most High. He shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change times and the law, and slander God's dwelling place. You shall know that I am the Lord. I have heard all of your blasphemies which you have spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, Thus with your mouth you have boasted against me, and multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Words to slander those who live in heaven. And God asks, in Ezekiel chapter 13, Will you profane me among my people, killing people who should not die, and keeping people alive who should not live? Verse 7. And it was given to the beast to make war. Notice Daniel's account of this time. Also, notice that there is a terminus, that is, a specific event that will mark the end of the war. From Daniel chapter 7, the same horn was making war against the saints, and prevailing against them, until. Very important word. Until. Until what? Until the Ancient of Days came. What does that mean? Who is the Ancient of Days? And where is he coming from? I hope after listening to these sessions on Revelation, in threading the pearls, you'll be able to answer those questions. For now, we'll have to move on, noting that the beast will make war against the saints. From previous sessions, we'll remember the 144,000. For it may be that the Lord your God will hear the words of Rabshakeh, whom his master the king of Assyria has sent to reproach the living God. Therefore, lift up your prayer for the remnant that is left, for those who believe even through great tribulation. For the beast was given authority over. His authority is worldwide. For we learn in Daniel 7, the fourth beast shall be a fourth kingdom on earth, which shall be different from all other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, trample it, and break it in pieces, every tribe, every people, every language, every nation. For it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. It is better to trust the Lord than to put confidence in princes. Verse 8. And all who dwell upon the earth adored him. The inhabitants of the earth, we've heard of them before. For all who forsake the Lord shall be ashamed. Those who depart from the Lord shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living waters. They shall become inhabitants of the earth, worshipping the beast, and not written in the book, which comes up again later in Revelation chapter 20. Anyone not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. And Moses writes of the book of life in Exodus chapter 32. And the Lord said to Moses, Whoever has sinned against me, I will blot him out of my book, in the day when I visit for punishment, and I will visit for punishment upon them for their sin, those not belonging to the Lamb. And what's the difference? We learn from 1 John chapter 3. In this the children of God and the children of the devil are manifest. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, nor is he who does not love his brother. For the children of God love the Lamb, slain from the creation, showing that none of this was an afterthought. Again from 1 John, He who sins is of the devil, for the devil has sinned from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. We might note from Revelation 13, verse 8, that it says, The Lamb was slain from the beginning of the creation of the world. For have you not known? Have you not heard? Have you not been told? Has it not been told to you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants, the inhabitants of the earth, are like grasshoppers. For God brings the princes to nothing. He makes the judges of the earth useless. He's been in charge and always will be, from the beginning to the end. Verse 9. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. So who has an ear? Son of man, you dwell in the midst of the rebellious house, which has eyes to see, but does not see, and ears to hear, but does not hear, for they are a rebellious house. But let him hear, and be as the Israelites, who said to Moses, Go near and hear all that the Lord our God may say, and tell us all that the Lord our God says to you, and we will hear it and do it. For God is in control of this situation, as in all other situations. So therefore, listen to his word and do it.